Thank you. Thank you. Great to be in Brookings. Always great to see friends and to be on South Dakota State University's campus and to be part of such an impressive roster of speakers today. It's been exhilarating hearing the ideas that have been shared and the fascinating stories that have been told, and it's an honor to be here with you today. How many of you remember your first day of kindergarten? A number of you, great. Okay, for those of you for whom the recollection is a little bit fuzzy, how many of you, for those of you that have children, remember your child's first day of kindergarten? Yes, yes, it's so exciting. They're so ready. You're so ready. So for me, boy, I kind of remember the first day of kindergarten. I had 9 kids in my class at Columbia Elementary School. But boy, I remember my little boy's first day of kindergarten vividly because it was just 6 weeks ago. Here he is, Zachary, in his first day of kindergarten, so confident, so ready, right? And you think about the 5 years leading up to that first day of kindergarten, right? And it's about just the little ones, and we saw little Winter this morning, you're just kind of getting adapted to the surroundings, right? And it's all about preparation for lighting their first fire. Gathering the sticks, gathering the kindling, explaining to them how it all works. And then the first day of kindergarten arrives and they got their sticks and they're rubbing them together and the flame appears. And we all know what happens when you even if you strike a match, you get that fire going, there's sort of that momentary period of anxiety. What? Mom and Dad aren't coming into the schoolhouse with me? Right? And it's am I going to be able to keep this fire going? Am I ready for this? What is all this going to entail? Is it going to go out? Is it going to keep going? Moments of anxiety as we get our fire going, as we get on the road to independence. And first day of kindergarten, that's really step 1, right? And then comes day 2 when they're running off and you want to wave goodbye and they don't even turn around. And then fast forward, right, from this first flame that they get going, right, when they're 5, 6 years old. Fast forward another 12 years, 14, 18, 20 for some, right? You finish your formal education, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's graduate school. But boy, you've added to that flame over those years, right? You're gaining knowledge, you're adding experience, you're ready to light the world on fire. Man, you're prepared, you're finally independent. It's an exciting time in your life, and you've got this great campfire burning in the forest. And you're in your 20s, and you've got this healthy risk appetite. You feel invincible. You've got a campfire in the forest that you know you have to keep a close eye on, but you don't always do because you're invincible. You take risks. You're lighting the world on fire. The world's your oyster. You're adding more sticks to the fire. How many of you remember that first job, real full-time job, not summer job, real full-time job after your formal education? I remember it was after law school, worked for a federal judge, walked in, first week, reality sets in. Holy cow, these are a lot of hours, right? This is serious responsibility, but hey, I'm lighting the world on fire. I'm on fire. My life's on fire. I'm going to work my heart out. I'm going to make a great impression. I'm going to start making adult decisions about 401ks. And then you start having some other experiences in the workplace, your performance reviews, setting goals, meeting those goals, determining if it's the right fit. Can you get a promotion? Should you change jobs? You're adding sticks to the fire. You're gathering experience. How many of you are married? Okay. And how many of you, whether married or not, have children? Okay. So, you got your campfire. You're getting experience in the workplace with your job or jobs. You have an active social life. We haven't even talked about that for people in their 20s. And God bless Ginger, I want to go traveling. I want to be 20 again and travel the world, but I'm definitely going to work on having the traveler's mindset. And, I think it's just one of these things that, maybe you're lucky and you find that life partner, right? Maybe you want kids, maybe you don't, but hey, you're gathering. You're gathering more wood. You're adding it to your fire. Maybe it's recreational interests. Maybe it's more professional responsibility. However you're driven, whatever your interests are, who doesn't want to have it all, right? Who doesn't want the beautiful bonfire on the beach? Having it all, whatever it means to you. Having it all at the same time, gets a little hard to manage. And it's particularly hard to manage for women who have full-time careers, who choose to be moms until those kids, I hope it's coming soon, this relief. I don't know if it's 8, 9, 10, 15, 25, but boy, when they are 6 and under, that's a hard fire to manage and keep under control. And there are times when this fire feels like it is going to blow out of control at any moment in time. Reese said it earlier, things can come in on you unexpected, whether in the workplace or in our families. We know that, right? And so it's sort of these moments in our lives where we think things are going to just get out of control on us. And I think especially for working moms with young children, I don't know that you ever have the feeling that you truly have work-life balance, work-life service to community balance. Even if you do, you don't feel like you do for that period of time. Scott asked us that alliterative adjective, right? And I couldn't think of one as I was sitting back there, but I was determined to think of it before I got up here. When I looked in the mirror this morning, singed Stephanie, right? I have been singed by this fire. And it reminded me of the comment that a friend of mine made last night after a very busy week at work and a lot going on there, and he's been involved in some of what I've been working on all week, and then my somewhat active social life from time to time, going to the Jason Aldean, Florida Georgia Line concert last night, seeing all those 20-somethings near the stage living it up. And then he said to me last night, he said, "Oh, you're giving a speech in Brookings tomorrow. What are you going to be talking about?" I'm going to talk about work-life balance. He said, "What, are you going to tell them what not to do?" And then my little boy comes in this morning, right? He's used to mom actually sleeping in a little bit on Saturday morning and him tapping me. And instead he sees me getting ready in the mirror, feeling kind of singed, bags under the eyes. What am I going to do about that? And he says, "Mommy, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I've got to get ready. I'm going to go up to Brookings. I'm going to see some people. I'm going to do a little speaking." He's like, "Mommy, why do you have to go place to place to place?" "I'll be back this afternoon. We'll get out the Halloween decorations." I mean, it's just those moments where your coworkers call you out on something, kind of in good fun, but it makes a point, and then your little kid says something to you that, has the rush of mommy guilt. He's been waiting all weekend. He knows this is when mom gets a chance to play. And I just wanted to lay that out there for you because as I share a few ideas with you on how I think we can kind of manage things at any stage of our life when that fire feels like it might be getting out of control, for those of you that are working moms, have been working moms, might be working moms, it's tougher. There is no doubt about it. And we all strive for the work-life service balance. We all strive to achieve it. But you know what? Don't let it mask the fact that it's not so much the other obligations that people are imposing on you, it's often the choices you make for yourself that result in that feeling of your fire being out of control. So here are the 5 things that I'd want to share with you. Really 4, but sort of slightly 5, of just ideas to kind of have top of mind of how you kind of keep your fire from burning out of control when you have it all, whatever that means to you, all at the same time. And the first is the obvious one, right? Water, pail of water, hose, whatever you need to douse out part of it from time to time. And then there's the shovel, right? You got to be able to build yourself a fire break. We got hand crews that do this for big forest fires, but dig yourself a fire break that will keep it from going in a direction you don't want it to go. From slowing it, you got to slow it down a little bit. The third is just call in the reinforcements. Call them in at work, call them in at home, call them in among family, friends, coworkers, delegate. And as Reese said, delegating doesn't come naturally for anybody. But if you can delegate at home or in the workplace, and it's not just delegating down, it can be delegating up. And you'd be surprised if you communicate effectively why you're asking for help, the number of people willing to do it. And the fourth is kind of a combination that leads to the fifth, and it's having confidence and courage and some creativity to manage your fire in a different way, however it's going to work for you, that's unique for you, that's sort of that special something, that magic something that helps you keep it all under control and enjoy the reward and the contentment and the fulfillment and the warmth and the comfort and the sustenance that that fire should be providing for you, rather than the feeling that it's out of control, feeling like you're stretched too thin and overcommitted. It's starting to singe, it's starting to burn not just you, but people at home and people at work, people you love. You know, my husband, on Scott's presentation, sort of the red and the yellow, my husband and I are both red and yellow, and we interchange, right, from when we're at work or when we're at home. And Max is my Jack, right, and I'm Jill, and he is handing me pails of water, right, at different times to just finish a project, take it off the list. You do not need to fill in every minute of every day, of every month, of every year with task-driven things at home and at work. And even though for some of us it makes us actually feel better when we have a list and we're checking them off, he's been great of giving me the pails to say, stop, you gotta relax, you gotta do some other things. Let's go do this instead, right? Something that will allow you to replenish your reservoir. Finish the project, take it off the list, do it a different time, get it out, take that file out. Don't think about it for now. And the CEO of Raven Industries, where I now work, he shared with me advice that the CEO before him shared. When you take on a new job with a lot of responsibility and you're not quite sure what it's going to entail, but you've got a lot of energy, you're ready for it, but you're just not sure how much it's going to require, try to draw a line around sort of committing to other things right away. Give yourself 6 months, give yourself a year, acclimate to your new position. Those opportunities more than likely will be there for you in 6 months or a year, so you can find your sea legs, make the transition. That was so important to me 2 years ago when we were moving from Brookings to Sioux Falls, out from DC to Sioux Falls, getting Zachary transitioned, starting with a company that I thought I knew something about, but oh my goodness, all of the other things to learn and to do in my new job at Raven. And then, of course, seeking the reinforcements. You know, whether you ask for them or not, your parents typically know when your fire is getting out of control. And my mom's in the audience today, and she knows when my fire is getting out of control. She can know in terms of how I answer the phone. So whether you ask for it or not, you know you've got people surrounding you that love you and care about you. But boy, Christofina was asking for reinforcements today, wasn't she? Good for her. Mother of a young child, finishing her PhD, taking on the challenges of the world that mean a lot to her family, to all of us. And she had the courage to ask for reinforcements. And she's going to get it, just as she's gotten it over the past 5 years that she's been a member of this wonderful community. And you know, my friend Kirsten Gillibrand, who is now the junior senator of the state of New York, she was appointed to that position when her little boys were at early elementary school and about 2 years old. And boy, New York politics is sharp-elbowed, rough and tumble, but she got the appointment. She went overnight from representing one district in New York to the entire state. Lots of more constituents, lots more committee work, new colleagues, new committees, new legislative priorities, and an election 5 months down the road and everything that entailed. And she wanted to be a good mom. And yes, she had reinforcements, right? But she also had the courage and the confidence and the creativity to challenge her staff to adjust her schedule in a way where some would have to accommodate her so that she had the 2 and 2.5 hours to get home, to prepare a meal, to have a meal with her children, and to put them to bed before she went back to work from 8 to 10:30 every night as she was managing that fire that was nearly out of control. She challenged the status quo. She challenged the assumptions of the people around her that that could be done and it would work. Similar to a woman I work with now, who had been at the company over 30 years for various different reasons, felt like her fire was out of control. And she said, you know what, I think I can manage this if I go from 5 days a week to 4, and I work one of those 4 at home. She proposed it. We made it happen. It works for her, it works for us, but she had the courage to ask for it. She had the confidence because she knew that the job she did at the company provided value, and it may very well be well received, and it was. You know, and then the importance of communicating, like my coworker did, like Kirsten did with her staff, like my brother has done with all of us as his family because he was just recently promoted. And boy, I think he's swimming. His fire's out of control, and he's trying to figure out how to do the job of 3 or 4 different people as he finishes his dissertation for his PhD. And while he's single and doesn't have children, for him, he's got it all at the same time. And he's asked his family, because he's communicated, to just, he'd like to be at more of the commitments and obligations that are family related because it brings him joy to be with his parents, to be with me, I suppose, too, even though I'm the nagging little sister, and his nephew. But he can't right now because it would then spin out of control on him, given everything that he has on his plate. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel where he knows that if he can just manage it now for the next 3 months, it'll get better. It'll get better. And so I wanted to share those anecdotes with you, not in terms of any revelationary thinking, but rather, I suppose first and foremost, to say the young women in the room who are thinking of starting a family but also want to continue to have the fulfillment that a rewarding career offers you, that it's going to be tough. No one should tell you otherwise. But you got some things that'll work because it's worked for some of us who've been through it. You'll find those things that are unique to you, right? Whether it's not just the water and just the shovel and the reinforcements, but that courage and creativity and confidence that you need to have, that you're going to find a way to keep it from getting out of control on you, that you'll have a life on fire in a really good way. That's what we all want. The warmth, the comfort, the sustenance, the protection. Thank you for letting me share a few thoughts with you here today.